Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's something serious. Where my girls at? We ain't linked up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right.
Where my girls at? It's going down. It's going down on Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Don't touch that dial. You are tuned into We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship on 9:10 a.m. The Superstation is located right in Detroit, but it's heard all over the world. And we are excited to come to you Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 p.m. And when I tell you, we talk about everything, this and that and this. We talk about sometimes politics, what's hot in the news. We try to inspire, encourage, and uplift. But sometimes with these girlfriends, we absolutely get a little messy. And you know what? One of the messy ones is missing on today. And I know if you have been following us over the last couple of days, you're probably like, okay, is this going to be the new First Lady show? Because it's Lady Caterina, First Lady Crisette. But you know what? Our girlfriend.
We got another First Lady.
I know we have such busy lives, but you guys, this is too funny. So Sabrina, of course, has been in Baltimore, Maryland with her husband. And for those of you who may be tuning in for the first time and listening for the first time, if you don't know, her husband, Kenny Monday, is the new head coach of wrestling at Morgan State University. So they have been on a whirlwind tour. They've been there. They had a press conference on yesterday. They've had to, find housing. She's moved from Geneva on the Lake, Ohio to Baltimore. So when I tell you they are busy, but it was so funny. She sent us a caption, or she sent us one of the releases, and it was introducing Kenny Monday and the First Lady, Sabrina Goodwin Monday. When I tell you, we cracked up. So we have to welcome her to the First Ladies Club. Now, Katrina, let's be clear. We're going to definitely need to sit her down and have some conversation.
A little hazing.
Okay, a little conversation about, okay, Sabrina, these words you can no longer use. You got to take those.
You can't put that bathing suit on. You can't put that bathing suit on.
Absolutely. So we're excited. So she's traveling today. She's not with us. And I know many of you are watching our other host, Gloria Mayfield Banks. She and her husband are on a 26, 28-day vacation on the other side of the world, Asia. They've been to Singapore, Vietnam. I believe they're still in Bali now, and just having an amazing vacation. I mean, that's next level, y'all. Who can leave for almost a month and just travel from country on the other side of the world?
Okay, 7-star, not at the Holiday Inn. I said Emirates first class and 7-star. Let's be clear.
So let's be clear. I know it's Katrina and I. We're living these whole home kind of lives. Okay, we're the only ones at home, so we're holding it down. But when I tell you, there's been so much that's going on, so much happening in the news. And yesterday we talked about the death of the longest reigning monarch in the UK, and that's Queen Elizabeth II. And so, again, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family and, of course, to that nation who is in mourning. So we thought on today we would continue the conversation because, let's be clear, if you turn on the news today, pretty much that's what the conversation is about. It is about the transference of power, or the succession, I guess is what they would call it, from one monarch to another. So today we're going to talk about the new sheriff, and not the new sheriff, the new king,
The new king.
that is in charge, okay? And that would be King Charles III. And he's bringing with him his queen, Camilla. And so, before we get started, I'm going to throw it over to my girl, Caterina. But before I throw it to her, so this is the question, because we absolutely want you to join in the conversation. Actually, it's 2 questions on today. So one question is, how do you feel about King Charles being in charge, and him and Camilla? You guys know their history with Diana, and the affair and all the messiness. Should we just say, hey, Diana's gone, God bless her dust, rest her soul? Or do you still feel some kind of way that now he is the monarch and he is with his mistress, Camilla, and she is the queen? So what do you think about that? We're being a little messy on today. We're going to talk a little bit about Charles, who he is. But the other question is, and this is something they were talking about, when they get ready to hold the funeral for the queen, each country, the head of state gets to invite a certain number of people to attend, and that is left up to the president. And especially in our country, is left up to the president to invite, former presidents, and who, however many he can invite. That is their job. Do you think that President Biden is going to invite Trump? Okay, we know the Obamas will be invited. We know the Bushes will be invited. The Carters might be invited. But do you think that he is going, or should he invite President Trump? And if he invites him, do you think he is going to show up? Okay, so we want to know. So give us your opinion. You talking about it with your sisters, with your
Air Force One with them.
Exactly. Ooh, you talking about hearing a pin drop. I would love to be a fly on the wall if he decides to get on Air Force One and to fly with them. So we want to hear from you. 313-778-7600. Call us and give us your opinion. Okay, Caterina, before we talk about King Charles III, what's going on in California? Oh my goodness. If it's not one thing, it's another. Fire. We are still going to send that U-Haul truck to your front door.
I'm telling you, it's a lot. Now, first of all, what's been going on here is every TV, we upgraded to YouTube TV. And so you can only have 6 devices on. So I had to upgrade to unlimited because my husband's like, my TV keeps getting cut off, because I had the Queen on, the refrigerator got a TV. I had the Queen on downstairs, everything. So I'm ready for this conversation. I got my notes. I got a lot of information. I go to TikTok for the tea. Okay. So I got a lot of TikTok tea over here. But yes, continue to pray for California. And I mean, everywhere, really. I mean, before I talk about California, I just saw again on TikTok that Baltimore City, okay, speaking of Baltimore City has unclean water with E. coli in it. I mean, y'all, there's just so much issues. Can you believe it? E. coli having to boil their water. And we were able to do a fundraiser and give over 50 cases of water in Jackson, Mississippi. Yay. For women. And thank you, Chris, you supported the cause. And there was a woman who came and got water who had no running water. And she said, you know what? This is not a new issue. For 25 years, she has had to boil her water. That's just crazy. That's absolutely crazy. So there's issues everywhere. It's not just the U-Haul in California. I think after 25 years, I'd have got a U-Haul out of there. But it's 102 now, and it's hot. We have fires, and y'all, 2 things you never put in the same sentence: hurricane and California. We got a hurricane coming, and the hurricane's name is K. And just to tell y'all, K means the same as Katrina, which is my name, Caterina. So Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane K, which means purity, which is a whole other conversation. But just stay woke, because people hear K and don't think Katrina, but they have the same meaning. So pay attention to Hurricane K, and that hurricane is coming and going to make the fires, well, we're praying in the name of Jesus that it don't come. But if it has the potential of exacerbating the fires, because what you don't want is heat and wind. And no rain.
Wow,
I mean, it's
that's
just
unbelievable. So when is it slated, if it hits, when is it slated to get there?
somebody help us. Sheila help us. Ursula help us. Because all I see, seriously, this is a problem when there's a hurricane coming, but everything on the news in this house has been about the Queen. I don't know exactly when it's coming, but I think it's like en route now. Somebody type in the chat or call in and talk about it. So we got a lot going on. But I want to answer them questions when you get to that. So throwing it back to you.
Okay. Well, you know what? Before we go to some things about Charles, I want to just, Caterina, if you don't mind, reading some of the things that are in the chat, because our viewers that are watching us on the Force of Friendship Facebook page or 9:10 a.m. Facebook page, they are chiming in. Gloria Lewis, what is she saying, Caterina?
He'll just stand, and speaking of Trump, he'll stand in front of her casket, blocking it, just like he did in real life when he stood in front of her when he visited the King of England. Tell us how you really feel. Shady, 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 Gloria. Ursula says if he invites Trump, Trump will not show up just to be messy. If he doesn't invite him, Trump will make a whole stink about it just to be messy. Thank you, Sheila, for praying. Diana, very good. Diana says that the invitation is protocol and appropriate. That is good. That's very good, because there's something to be said about protocol and doing the right thing regardless. He was president of the United States. Dorothy says, I bet the Queen had already sent Biden a note about not letting Trump come to the funeral. Now that's shady,
funny,
Dorothy. Which honestly, sometimes people make statements. They really do make statements about what their wishes are. And so just very, very, very interesting. We shall see.
So
Sheila said,
now, and this is the thing,
so just so you know.
I don't know if the Queen would have been that shady. I mean, they pretty much follow protocol. And, at the end of the day, I love how they are leaving it up to the heads of states to make that decision on who to invite. So what they're doing, they're taking the pressure off of themselves and putting it on the various countries to decide, who they want to invite to the funeral. So it's going to be really interesting. But I totally agree with the viewer who said if Biden invites him, it's going to be a thing, and if he doesn't invite him, it's going to be a thing. And I think that, love or hate, Biden, I think he would err on, I don't want to say error, he would do the right thing. And if protocol is you invite all of the living presidents to go, I think he would. But I think most of the people said that they don't think Trump would take him up on his offer, only because he wouldn't want to ride on Air Force One with all of the other people that are going to be on there. So I hear the music. We're going to go ahead and go to our very first break. You're listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation. We're talking about there's a new king in charge, a new monarch. Oh my goodness. After 70 years, UK has a succession and new monarchs, King Charles III and Queen Camilla. We know you got a comment. What do you think about that? Give us a call, 313-778-7600. We'll be right back after this break. right, we are back. We are back. You're listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship on 910 AM, the Superstation. And today we're talking about the new king that is in charge. Yes. The Queen passed on yesterday, and she was in charge. Queen Elizabeth was in charge for 70 years. 70 years. Wow. What a long time to be in charge. So one thing's for sure, King Charles, he can't say that he didn't have a role model. I'm sure he has watched her year after year after year. And I don't know if in his mind he thought maybe she would live not forever, but longer than 96 years old. And you guys, he is 73 years old. He's 73 years old, and he will be the oldest person to ever assume the British throne. So
wow,
he
the
has
oldest.
the oldest
Okay.
who ever assumed the British
I was
throne.
wondering.
And so can you imagine, Katrina? Wait, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know if somewhere in him he has been patiently waiting to be the king, or if
He
he's
said he
become
dreaded the day.
comfortable. He
He
dreaded the day.
He told Liz Truss he dreaded the day. Now, granted, this is the day after your mother passed away, so part of it is, was he saying he dreaded becoming king? Probably not. He dreaded losing his mother, which
His
is
mother,
natural for
yeah,
anybody,
losing.
right? Even if you are 70.
Absolutely.
What a blessing to have your
And
mama,
this is,
and you're 70 though. That's for real.
I know. That's amazing. And the other part of that too is, I mean, all of this time has passed, and now you're in the autumn of your life. It's not like you are, in your 40s, your 50s, or even your 60s, but you're 73, 7 years from being 80 years old. But of course, we know that the way it works in the United Kingdom, it's kind of like they are the monarchs, but other people run the government. So he's not like the president of the United States that's running everything. They have parliament, and of course, I don't know how much he will have to do with the day-to-day politics of the United Kingdom, but it's just really interesting that at 73 years old, you are now been passed the baton, and now he is King Charles III. Well, we do have a couple of callers that are on the line, and we absolutely want to hear from you. And so I believe Rick, are you there with your question or comment?
Yes, I am. Hi, how you doing, Lavon? I mean, how are you, not Lavon? How you doing? It's always great to hear. Wonderful program. I think Trump might go, but he wasn't very well liked in Great Britain, and I think he would be a distraction from why they're going over there. So I think Biden will invite him, but I don't think Trump is really going to go. He's done an investigation by the DOJ, so he wouldn't be somebody who would be welcome, if you know what I'm saying. So he didn't go to Bush Senior, and there was a couple. He didn't go to John McCain's funeral. I mean, there was a few things he didn't attend. So he would be more of a distraction at this point. I don't think he's going to come. That's all.
Okay, so Rick, with that being said, I mean, what does that say about who you are, that it's a big deal as to whether or not you're going to be invited to somebody's funeral, whether or not you're going to accept the invitation to go? And I'm saying that because when you think about our presidents, you always want to think of them, whether you agree with their politics or not, but that there's a certain decorum, there's a certain level of integrity when it comes to being a statesman that you at least know, I may not agree with everything, but they're not going to embarrass me if they show up at this event or that event. I mean, how much of that do you think plays a role?
Yeah, it's political diplomacy. It's having the right or the sense enough to know when you're wanted, when you're not wanted. It's just like us. Somebody's having a party someplace with somebody, and you invite yourself, you crash the party, and you become a distraction. So it's the same thing. If he is told, I bet if Biden is told by Prince Charles or now King Charles that he's invited, he probably will invite Trump. But I don't think he's really gonna do that. I just don't see it after. That's all. He's been in hiding for a while ever since they wanted his place. That's all. That's all I'm saying. So he's a certain amount of diplomacy issues, and yes, things like that happen. Things like that are happening, especially on that level. And but to be a king and have somebody there who, yes, ma'am.
One final question before you hang up. Do you think that President Biden should invite him, even though Trump will more than likely say no? Do you think out of decorum he should invite him?
Yes, it'd be protocol. It'd be the right thing to do. That's all it is.
Okay, got it. Okay. Well, thank you, Rick, for calling in. And
he's the president. Thank you.
That's right. Okay, thank you so much for calling in, Rick. We appreciate it. Yeah, go ahead. I know you're going to another caller, but
some of his passports. I think he has more than one passport. I think presidents have different kinds of passports, and I think they gave him back. But there were some passports that were taken. Are we sure that he was able to go? I'm just now. I think he has a passport, but I don't know. Somebody can verify.
Wow. Somebody needs to verify that. I don't know if I've ever heard of a president having his passport taken and held on to because they might flee the country because they got some warrants for his arrest. So yeah, we definitely want to verify that. Okay. Barbara, are you there? Barbara.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Barbara. Thank you for calling. We can hear you. Hi. Okay, I'd like to comment on Trump, 45 and Biden. Biden is damned if he does and damned if he don't. Will 45 go? Of course he's going. And thank you for taking my call. Okay, that was quick, fast, and to the point. And you're absolutely right. I believe that
if President Biden doesn't invite Trump, oh my goodness, the Republicans are going to have a fit, and that's going to be its own news cycle in and of itself. And I think that if he invites him, I think it would be more of an uproar if he doesn't invite him. If he does invite him, I think most people would say he did the right thing. He did the right thing. So thank you so much. Yes.
I don't think this would happen, but Melania could go instead of Trump. And she probably would get best dressed. But I don't see her as being outgoing to go and represent like Michelle Obama would go and represent if Obama couldn't go. But, I wouldn't feel, I think I'd feel differently seeing Melania there to represent the family. Or maybe it's Ivanka, So maybe it's not.
And I wonder how comfortable she would feel being on that plane. And I don't know everybody that's going and who would be on Air Force One, but I think most reasonable people would, even if they don't agree with things that you said or whatever, they know, how to be cordial and have conversations. So, I mean, I don't know. I think, Ivanka, once she got out on Air Force One,
they just give me the invitation and I will take my own plane. Okay. No, even if anybody goes, if anybody whose last name is Trump, they are not getting on Air Force One just out of their own protocol. That is definitely not happening. If they
that
say
ain't gonna happen. Okay.
We got a plane and we will get there ourselves. Just meet us at the gate and hand me my ticket. Okay?
Well, let's be clear. We will know on Monday who's getting the invitation to go to the funeral. We will know. PG, are you there?
Happy Friday.
Hey, PJ, thank you for calling us.
Thank you for calling us. Yes, I want to give you a different perspective. Okay, Trump is narcissistic. Trump is used to being the center of attention. I don't think he's going to go because he will not be the center of attention. Biden should not invite him because protocol goes out the window when you incite an insurrection and you know that that's wrong, and no sitting president has ever incited an insurrection before. This man is on the verge of being charged with sedition and treason and inciting an insurrection. So he is not that dignitary that everybody wants to say that he is, or that he should have been, or that he was. He had an opportunity to try to make history, to be a good Republican president because he got a lot of votes. And he chose for 4 years to pimp that White House and make all kind of money on the side, he and all of his family members. He should not be invited. I hope he doesn't go. And if he goes, I hope they totally ignore him and not give him any airtime. And I hope that Attorney General Letitia James of New York puts him in jail. Thank you for taking my call. I love you, ladies.
CJ, next time, tell us how you really feel. Okay?
Tell us how you really feel. Okay. Now that absolutely is a different perspective. When I tell you these lines are lit up, we want to know. Okay. So that's the question. Do you think Trump should go? Will he go? Should he be invited? And we also want to know, how do you feel about the new monarch, King Charles III? We're going to continue to have this conversation after this break. You're listening to We Got Issues on 910 AM, the Superstation. We'll be right back. We are back. You're listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship. You guys, we are talking about the new monarchy, King Charles III and Queen Camilla. They are the new monarchy. And so we have two questions that we're talking about. The first one was, do you think that President should invite Trump to go to the, or should he not? And do you think that if President Trump were invited, would he show up? And when I tell you, the callers have called in and they have given their opinion. And so far, all three have said, no way. Okay, let him stay home. And Caterina, our viewers, they are lighting up our chat. And I mean, some of this stuff is hilarious. Share some of the comments, Caterina, that our viewers are chiming in.
Okay, well, Sheila said that Ivanka should not go either. Okay, she has questions to answer. Bernetta said, let's just go and send Bishop Ellis and Bishop Jakes on the plane. Okay, I don't know if Bishop Ellis gets an invite. I don't know if Bishop Jakes will get an invite, because I tell you, this first over here, she gonna be right there. Okay, and then you can give Melania a rub her money on best dress, because we know you got hats. Okay. Sheila said, I agree, she should not be invited, and he should not be invited. Not a real president, in my opinion. And she said that the caller spoke for a lot of us. Dorothy, it's clear. She has written the White House and said it's the Clintons, the Bushes, the Obamas, the Bidens, the Carters. I don't think they can travel. And she agrees with the last caller. So not happening. I will tell you one thing, Chris, on the other question of how do you feel about the king and the queen consort. I'll tell you one person who didn't agree. Liz Truss, the current prime minister. I found this out early in her career. Can you believe this? She campaigned to get rid of the monarchy and inevitably to have the queen fired. She was against the monarchy early in her career. Now that's my TikTok tea. I was like, OMG. So that's kind of awkward. You met both of them. I said, well, in a way, okay, this is not. I said, in a way, you came in and 2 days later, the queen is gone. Okay. I'm like, really? But that's got to be awkward. I don't know how many years ago. I don't know if she's redeemed herself since then, but just to have said that ever. So that was interesting. But when King Charles III greeted her today, he was a total gentleman and statesman. So.
Right. And you know what? I think that's one of the things that they have, there. I mean, even with all of the scandals and all of the things that have been in the tabloids about the Queen's family, she, was real. She was cool, as they say, as a cucumber. You never really caught her saying a whole lot about her family. And so I think they tried their best to keep a lot of stuff undercover. But of course, when you are in the public eye, and in the public eye, you meet so many people, it's impossible to keep every secret, to keep everything undercover. That's just not going to happen. So I'm sure as we get closer to the funeral, we'll learn more and hear more about her life, and even hear more about, King Charles and Camilla. And that's the other question. And we want our viewers and our listeners to call in. What do you think about the new monarchy? Do you think, hey, he was next in line, regardless of, what happened between him and Diana, that, hey, that's the title, he should get it. And I'm not saying that because, he was divorced, that he should not be able to succeed his mother. We're just being a little messy on the day. How do you feel about it? Somebody said to me,
did you see his speech, Chris? Did you see his speech?
I didn't. I only heard snippets of it. Did you get a chance to hear his speech?
I watched the whole thing, and I tell you honestly, he I'm not gonna say he won my heart, but when he arrived at Buckingham Palace, those of you that were there, call in and talk about it. The way he greeted he stood in that line, Chris, for, I mean, he was like Mary Kay Ash, okay? Look in the eye,
Really?
greeted. First of all, I was like, somebody need to slap you some hand sanitizer, brother. I'm like, don't touch your face, don't touch your face. But and one woman, her name, they interviewed her. I mean, she reached and said, may I kiss you? And I mean, he embraced her.
I saw that.
And
I saw
yeah,
that.
came right along. And his speech was very personable. Everybody was commenting on how even at the end he mentioned Harry, but he did a great job of not selling job, but on talking about his wife and who really is his first love. I mean, that's his first love. And so, you know, I'm some kind of Princess Diana fan, but that is his first love. And that's who he would have married if he hadn't been prohibited.
Okay. So, you know, and that in and of itself is a conversation. I know, Caterina, you have watched The Crown. I know Kiera, my daughter, Chuck, they have watched The Crown.
Started this
I
weekend.
have not watched it yet.
You
I
gotta
have not
watch it.
watched
Started
it yet.
this weekend.
So, Caterina, talk a little bit about that, because I know Kiera, she said to me, she said, I feel some kind of way, you know, how they really mistreated Diana. And then now, you know, Camilla is the queen when, you know, it should have been Princess Diana. And so I said, and I can understand that. But then I kind of felt for Charles too, because I said the heart loves who the heart loves. And
You said that yesterday.
I mean, yeah. I mean, what's love got to do with it? Everything. So I don't know how much that was depicted in The Crown. Can you talk a little bit about that, Caterina?
Yeah. And so, you know, even we see his uncle, right? I mean, it's in the bloodline that his uncle made the decision to follow love. And so we think about, even when you see it in very, you know, high society families where people say, no, you have to marry someone from an Ivy League education and this, but you had someone who was their high school sweetheart, someone they really, really, really loved. And so they married who their parents wanted. And that marriage didn't work out, and then they go back and find that high school sweetheart. I mean, we hear that story. Actually, it happens so often. And so they definitely, in The Crown, as much as, you know, The Crown was, it makes you like mad at Charles because it shows him, you know, being is a problem. And hopefully he's grown out of that because he was younger. But it definitely depicts how much in love he was with her. And the fact that
and you know what,
I mean,
Caterina,
there was adultery that took place, you know, it was messy.
Yeah.
And Princess Di knew all
thing.
of it.
This is the thing. I wonder if he could go back in time, because even though he was next in line, nobody has a crystal ball. He had no idea that his mother was going to live to be 96. So can you imagine if he had decided to do the same thing that his uncle did and never married Diana, how many years he could have been happy with Camilla? Because at the end of the day, you know, his mother was probably going to live to be 96, and he really wouldn't have become the king until 73. So I wonder if, you know, if he could turn back the hands of time.
He's married to the firm. He's a firm man. That's one of the things.
So he's married to the
firm. The Crown, he is married to the firm, you know. And honestly, the queen's sister, that's why she was, you know, it came down to her choosing love over the firm, and she chose the monarchy. So it you know, I'm sure the movie is, I mean, the series is not 100% accurate, but it's good. If you have not watched The Crown, me and Anthony, he would say, like, don't tell nobody, we were glued. He's like, what time we start tonight? You know, it's just, it's so good. And honestly, we want more, but I don't know if it will get more at all, especially at this point. So
wow. Well, I'm just going to tell a few things about Charles that you may not know, and then Caterina, feel free to chime in. I know you took a whole lot from TikTok on today. That's her new history book. Okay. So if you want to learn about history in a funny way, okay, sign up for TikTok. And Caterina, you can tell us some of the people that you follow. But Charles was the first royal to earn a university degree, and he got he studied history at the Cambridge University Trinity College. In 1970, he was the first British royal to earn a university degree. I did not know that.
Interesting.
Right?
No idea.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. And so that was interesting. And the fact that now I do know, I saw this, I think, in the history of Diana, that he met Diana, who was Spencer at the time, in 1977. And she was only 16 years old, but he was dating her older sister. Okay. So isn't that interesting? He dated her sister first. And then he didn't see her again until 1980. And rumors of their engagement swirled after she was invited to spend time with Charles and the royal family. Now, Caterina, you can speak a little bit more to that. You know, Kiera was just kind of sharing that they saw Diana as this virgin, and as, you know, she would be perfect to fill the seat of the princess. And so I want you to tell us a little bit about that when we come back after this break. You're listening to We Got Issues, and we are talking the monarchy. We're talking about King Charles III and Camilla. We know you got an opinion. We know you want to tell us what you think about it. So give us a call at 313-778-7600. We'll be right back after this break. All right, we are back. We are back. We got issues, and the issues the issue is the new monarchy. Can you get excited? In 70 years, the longest reigning monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, is now died and has passed the baton, or the succession falls to her son, Prince Charles, who is now King Charles III. So we're talking about the monarchy. What do you think about them? We're going to go to our caller, then we're going to come back to you, Caterina, to talk a little bit about Diana. Caller, are you there? Grace, Lady Grace, are you there? Hey, how are you?
How are you? I am
Awesome.
well. Good evening. Anyway, I wanted to chime in on Trump, the Donald Duck of our presidency. No, he should not be invited. He's a disgrace. Biden should not actually even entertain the thought of inviting him. But Trump will want to go. I think he would, because he wants to be the center of attention. And it would be a disruption of the proceedings of anybody with him standing there. It just would not. It would not be a good look for the United States of America. And I'm going to say this too. I really don't care about the royal British, all of that. I never did. It wasn't anything remotely close that was respected in our home when I was younger. It was what was told in my home. White folks doing white folks, and literally doing white folks each other, because we're inbreeding. So we're going to support them in some kind of way. So let's talk about their inbreeding bloodline. I'm not interested in it. I'm not kissing the ring or kissing the dirt or any other assets of them, the royals. I just think it's kind of nasty, the inbreeding bloodline. Let's shine the light on that. It's in their history, and it's not anything that I pull out of the air. It's truly fact. And that's how I feel, ladies. Have a great one. Okay. I use my time. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Lady Grace, for
Telling us how you absolutely feel. And you know what? That's another conversation, cousins marrying cousins, first, second, third cousins. How do you feel about that? I know, coming up, we've always been taught you don't want to, marry too close in the bloodline, because then the babies are crazy and lots of diseases and issues. So that's a talk show in and of itself. But Lady Grace, we are so glad that you called in and gave us your opinion. So you say leave Trump at home. Don't invite him. Don't embarrass the United States. Okay, we heard you. Caterina, talk to us.
Well, speaking of relatives now, and I followed along the TikTok. I didn't go and do the ancestry research, but they traced, and I can't remember if it was 5 generations or 15 generations. I know that one makes a difference, but Meghan's father into the bloodline of Harry. That they
say that again, Caterina.
Meghan's father being related to Harry's bloodline, either 5 or 15 generations. I forgot which one it was, 5 or 15. But one thing that's very interesting is, by Harry being the son of the sovereign, his children, Archie and Lilibet, now become prince and princess because of the current system that's been set up, which either the king can change that, which would be kind of shady. He probably wouldn't do that. Meghan and Harry could choose to not have them use the royal name, and they could elect to use it when they get when they turn 18. But they now become prince and princess, which is very interesting. And the Prince of Wales now, William, the future king, they automatically became Duke and Duchess. But Prince of Wales happened when King Charles spoke. He appointed him Prince of Wales. That position is not automatic; it's an appointment, and he appointed them, or he granted or bestowed it. And there'll be a special celebration for them. But those are big shoes to step into, with Kate now being Princess of Wales, taking literally on the title of their mother. They're talking about what that, which is not the title that Camilla took on, of course. And so that will be very, very interesting. You asked real quickly about Diana, just going back from, all the things that I know, but it was her pedigree. It's understanding literally the House of Spencer and where she came from and all of that. And I'm sure they check your ability to produce children. What are those kids going to look like? What's the king going to look like? They're fighting for the monarchy, for the future of the monarchy, and what it's going to look like in the future and being relevant. And all of that is taken into account. I mean, Princess Diana was a beautiful soul. And one problem, it's not who he loved. So just that one problem. But
she
I don't
loved
think the
him,
firm
right,
makes the decision
Katrina?
that way. Yes, it showed that she loved him, and I'm sure he had an affinity for her. But he became very bitter and very angry and very and then even it talks, of course, in there about what happened when she was clearly the most popular, and you're supposed to be. You know, we see Kate. She is, you know, she is there, but she is definitely in the background. She is not in the foreground anywhere near how Princess Diana was. So,
Wow. I
and
mean,
just speaking of what the other caller said, there are countries that talk. There was can't remember which country it was in Africa that came out and said, you know, we are not celebrating because to think of the monarchy reminds us of years and years and years of being in bondage. And I've heard some people say we love the queen, but and they could separate the queen from the overall monarchy. So just interesting. Lots of interesting
wow.
stuff.
Yeah, very. Well, just a few other things that you may not know. You think, you know, with having that kind of status, that you would not have to endure any kind of bullying, but they say Charles was bullied at school, and children called him fatty and picked on his prominent ears. Okay, and so his great uncle Earl, he urged Charles' parents to have them surgically pinned back. Can you imagine that? I guess, you know, his ears were so big that his uncle said, y'all need to help your child out. Give him some surgery. Have them, you know, stitch him, hold
Didn't
him
nobody do
back.
that with
I
Obama?
never,
Chris,
right?
you know,
Oh my goodness.
one
Go
thing
ahead.
one thing I will say is UK is bringing it in terms of women. I mean, today there was a woman bishop over the service who's over London, and we just see women rising to power. The Queen, one time King Abdullah from Saudi Arabia came in 2003 to visit the Queen, and women are not allowed to drive in Saudi Arabia, or at least not at that time. I don't know if that's the
Right.
case now. So on purpose, the Queen, he was going to get a tour of the palace, and on purpose, the Queen drove him. That's a little shady. And she drove
Wow.
fast. And he had to ask his translator to ask the Queen to slow down, and she refused to slow down. She like, oh yeah, women drive here, and if you want to see my property, I'm gonna drive you. That was like, okay, that's a classy way of making a statement. So
Absolutely.
he rode in the
Absolutely.
passenger seat with a woman.
And one of the things that I've heard several presidents and people that knew her said they loved her wit. She was quick witted. And so, you know, you can tell just looking at the memorials and all of the hundreds of thousands of flowers that they're laying at Buckingham Palace that she was a beloved figurehead there in the UK. So you guys, we have been talking about the monarchy. You've been listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship. Thank you so much for calling in and watching us. We are going to be back on Monday, so we want you to have a super fantastic weekend and join us on Monday at 6 p.m. We'll see you. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye, everybody.